Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You're the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. How you doing, everybody? Welcome on this fine White History Month, Monday. Welcome, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in. A little bit later, okay? We're getting down on a Monday, getting our stuff all in order, doing our stuff here at Bond, but I'm here with you today. You got me for a few hours. It's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure to be back. So thank you for tuning in. On this fine Monday, Tower 7 music, that is funny. That is funny stuff. I did feel a little bit like a truther there. I did get like truther vibes, like this is music for grand moves in the grand chess game of the world, of the globe. This is some of that general music, some of that internet general music. Okay, now it turned lame. Okay, welcome everybody. Happy White History Month. Appreciate it. Hit that like button on the way in. Help your boy. Hit the algorithm. Tickle the algorithm. Okay, chat away in the comments. Leave a comment. Maybe is there something you don't like? Send it the Anchor Baby's way. Send it my way. Look, it could help. It can help. Even no matter how I take it. That should not matter to you. So if you don't like it, leave a little comment. It might help the Anchor Baby out, huh? Show some love and leave a little comment, huh? And maybe it's positive, but hey, even if it's a criticism, I do appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Rumble.com/American Anchor Baby, DLive.tv/Gorgonzola. Welcome. What can I say on this fine Monday? There's a couple of things I want to get into. You know, it was such an interesting Jesse Lee Peterson on the network today, really, James Hake on the Hake Report. Fascinating topics with the ladies. A couple of things I want to mention before we get into some of the news. You know, there's this huge IT outage I definitely want to mention. I definitely want to get into that a little bit. Was it DEI? What happened? Countless computers. 8.5 million devices, hospitals, airlines having to resort to pen and paper like cavemen. Even worse. I don't know what that is. It's just some uncivilized stuff. Yes. Okay. So I want to get into all that. Look, you could call the Anchor Baby 888-775-3773. The lines are open. If you want to talk with the Anchor Baby about whatever you like. Look, we had a nice flight on Friday, no? Did we land? Did we land or did we die? No, we landed. I'm remembering. I'm searching the memories a little bit. What happened? And in my searching, I noticed there was panic. There was not panic, not from your pilot, from all the from the passengers. I do remember there was a moment of emergency, but your pilot brought us down. Spiritual Airlines. Your pilot brought us down safely into... Where did we fly into? I forgot where we flew into, but it may have been Mar-a-Lago. It may have been Milwaukee something. But we landed. Okay, we landed the plane beautifully because we had an engine failure is what it was. Good thing we had an engine failure over the airport. That's a good thing. We had one chance to do it, and we got her down easy, okay? So I do appreciate everybody who joined me on Friday for those Nick Stream Fridays. That's 4 p.m. Pacific time. Don't miss it. Adam and Eve. And they've been talking about the ladies. They've been talking about sin. They've been talking about it since Sunday a little bit. The people, the masses. Okay, not just the masses. Okay, some of the viewers and our friendly Bond family here in LA as well. In the building. In Los Angeles, Pico area. Some people don't know. Doing church with Jesse Lee Peterson on Sunday. So people have been talking about it since. They've been talking about it for much longer. Depends on who you ask. But I'm talking about the first sin and Eve listening to the serpent. And in that moment, Satan becoming her God. And Adam listening to Eve. Now, is that just an interpretation? That's just some interpretation, right? Oh, so from that, you're going to glean some kind of message that hell comes through the woman? Now, that's just some of that interpretation, right? Because they just disobeyed God, is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing all that. And that's not wrong, I guess. That's not necessarily wrong. Okay. On the disobeying God. But it came up. It was an interesting thing on church. What do you mean hell comes through the woman? Fascinating stuff, no? To Adam he said, because you listened to your wife and ate fruit from the tree, about which I commanded you, you must not eat from it. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil you will eat food from it all the days of your life. It will produce thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground. Since from it you were taken, and from dust you are, and to dust you will return. Yeah, he says because you listen to your wife there. You know? It's kind of a specific curse. You know, like it's a particular curse here. It's a particular, like, when it comes to the woman and Satan himself, the curses have their own specificity there as well. You know what I mean? So I can't say, is it really an interpretation? Is it really just a funny little, that's a funny way of looking, that's a cool way of looking at it? Cursed, God said, Lord. So the Lord God said, cursed. You didn't say it like that. Maybe if you're in a black church. So the Lord God said, Yeshua. To the woman he said, I will make your pains in childbearing very severe. And painful labor you will give birth to your children. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you. Wait, let me back that up. Let me back this up. He said to the woman, you must not eat from any tree in the garden. The woman said to the serpent, you may eat fruit from trees in the garden, but God did say you must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle. You will not certainly die. Okay. I'm trying to get to the part where God said. God did. So, yes. So he cursed Adam. He cursed Adam quite specifically here, okay? Is what I wanted to point out. In this question of interpretations and all that. The curses are specific. 99.9. Let me do this. Let me do one of these. Let me hit you with one of these. Let me hit you with one of these classic 99.999.9.9s. Let me hit you with some of these. 99.99. Your wife or girlfriend or whatever, 99% of you are worse than your men. Like the nice one, you got some man who's he's just so mean. He's just so abusive even. So abusive sometimes. He's all these things, right? He even cheats on you. Something I've noticed. I'm not going biblical with it. I'm just going with what I've noticed. Okay? And I'm talking about, the general person. Okay, look, she's with you because she's worse. And that's why she judges you. This is like the vast majority, folks. The woman that puts her head down and she's like, I'll just be quiet. I don't want to fight. I don't know. I just stay quiet when he gets like this. I don't know. Just when he gets like this, I just stay quiet. I'd rather say nothing because it would cause more problems. The woman who puts her head down while being beat is just as bad as this as the guy. If not worse than the man. You understand what I'm saying here? So what is this? What's the point? What's the conclusion? The conclusion is to stop looking at each other. Stop looking at others. Stop looking at, you got enough of your own stuff to deal with. And so just making that point, right? Making that point, looking at others. That's really where this proverbial woman that I'm even talking about goes wrong. And so too will the man and anyone who goes down this path. But yeah, no more. This not looking at others extends so much further because now you don't need now you really don't need all this fake stuff from your husband, for example. Okay? You don't need to do that, okay? Like, what is the conclusion here? That you don't have to look at someone else. You don't have to look at each other, judge, and do all this mess. That's holding you back from looking at yourself, and you got to do that in all situations because the 0.0001% of women that really are better, and I'm just using the word better to communicate with you right here. They're better, so to speak, than their husbands. Would never have to say it. They would never have to mention it. They might not even be in that kind of situation. They would never even have to mention it. They wouldn't have to convince anyone. They would even see whatever situation they got themselves in. They'd see the part they played and then just quietly deal with it. I get it. People need help and advice and all that. So, get your questions out and all that. But I'm just kind of, these are the things I was thinking about today with some of the most interesting calls, speaking on Genesis a little bit. And this game we play with each other where you're too focused on the other person and you're feeling bad, you're feeling good. You're like, oh, I'm actually pretty evil in these ways. Oh, she's pretty good. Good, evil comparison. It's such a mess. It's all a lie. And anyways, now I'm just rambling. 99.9% of your, she's worse than you. She's more judgmental than you. She is. Anyways, look, whatever. 888-775-3773. Nick, do you believe a snake actually spoke, or is it a metaphor/symbolism? I don't know. I really don't know. Why would that matter? It might matter. Maybe I'm missing it. It might totally matter. Hold on. Let me break this down, because this kind of reminds me of some of the conversations from earlier today. And I think one woman who called Jesse was saying, like, no, that was a man. That was a man who, the serpent, the snake was a man that Eve slept with, or something like that. So if you look at it like that, it's still, you can't be making this interpretation of the hell comes through the woman, because the snake was a man. But that might be its own interpretation, don't you think? It does matter. Do you believe you are quoting a snake? Who are you quoting? Well, why does it? I would like to know. I don't know. Everything is fake. It's a snake. It's a spirit. This is the way I take it. I really don't try and make a conclusion about it, like it was a snake or it wasn't. But the only thing I can be pretty sure of is that the serpent represents Satan and represents this spirit. Okay? And so hopefully that answers you. To continue that anywhere else, I guess I'd need to know, what's the importance here in that, if you wanted to continue that, It's an interesting question. Doesn't it remind you of what the lady was asking Jesse earlier about, if the serpent was just a man, then you can't really make that conclusion of, the woman listened to the serpent, Satan, so Satan became her god, and then the man listened to the woman, and so the woman became his god, flipping the order and having so that evil comes through the woman instead of love coming through God down to the man, right? Is that, am I in the ballpark? Everything is fake. Is that something that interested you with the question of if it's a snake or if it was a man? Would you say that that's also an unknown, I guess? I do think most Christians just speed past this. They don't establish their framework. They just go. Well, I appreciate the question. Everything is fake. And all people in my chat, tell the Anchor Baby to slow down. We got time to work things out. Let's not be speeding past frameworks. Fantastic questions. I like chats that slow the Anchor Baby down. He's full of energy. Just zero. So I like that. Appreciate that. The spirit of Satan. What else was I getting at? Because I do want to get into something else. Amazing conversations today. But it's escaping me now. What else I wanted to say about it? Anyways, podcast the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. You might hear interesting commentary on some of this. Incredible. Great stuff. Okay, let's check in on Rumble, checking on everybody here. Appreciate you being with the Anchor Baby. So I want to get into some of this mess. I'm going to find this fascinating. CrowdStrike. Outages. Massive. Major outages. And we're talking about tech. The tech world. Y'all know about kernels? So basically what went down is we got a major software. Okay, so there was an update to some pretty important software, and this software has some pretty high important privileges. And this combination of privileges and this X factor of who done it, why, the mystery, resulted in massive failures to many operating systems, many devices running a specific operating system, Microsoft Windows. And we're talking about over many industries, hospitals, airlines, the major ones, had their, many of their most critical devices and framework fall apart, go to a blue screen of death, as it's called, that blue screen when your computer isn't working. and stopping a lot of work, causing all sorts of problems globally. So it's definitely major, and I've sort of heard about it. I can't say I've really heard much about it besides it being sort of mentioned. But the details on why this can even go down, the specifics of the software world here, and how something like this can happen, not really discussed, but also a couple of other things, interesting things going on with diversity. Is this a Roman aqueduct situation? You know, they had aqueducts and then forgot how to build them back. They forgot how to repair and maintain their own technology, the Romans. And I think this may be a phenomena that happens across many cultures over time. So I do want to get into it. Like I said, Microsoft, we're going to a company called CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike is a company tasked with dealing with cybersecurity, essentially, for some of the most major industries around the world. And the way they got into doing that is in partnership with Microsoft. CrowdStrike runs on the Windows kernel. And at least what we're talking about here, they may be doing a bunch of other things, but this is what I know about CrowdStrike. And this company, in partnership with Microsoft, developed something known as CrowdStrike Falcon, which is, like I said, let's keep it simple, cybersecurity platform. Lets you see the system and tweak and deal with the system in a deep way. We'll put it like that. And most of how this stuff kind of works. So the way this stuff kind of works is in software with these devices that we're all using. We got our phones, we got our computers, and even besides that, point of sale systems. All these different systems that industries use, computers that industries use, that require a person to interact with this computer. So it may be not always just personal and recreational, but it could be technical and work related, but still geared for a person to at least easily use this program to do their work without having to be an expert on the program, the programming language, the hardware, and what all they're doing. Right? Duh. But that's how it works. And the way that this has been separated in the industry is through essentially levels of clearance. Okay, we're talking Area 51, different levels of clearance. Okay, the elevator will only take you so far. Okay, and pretty much everybody, the user, whether it's the recreational home Windows PC user or the professional at a technical job, CNC machining, hospitals, airlines, whatever, the user level, the user level clearance is is one level of clearance, and then a deeper level of clearance is known as the kernel, is known as ring 0. Okay, and this kernel, the nitty gritties, the deep organs, the blood vessel. Okay, we're talking about computers, and the kernel level of clearance is the code that runs at a much deeper system level, speaking to very sensitive things like the hardware itself, what the hardware is communicating, what this mouse is communicating, exactly where it is, what keystrokes, the internal temperatures, what information is moving on the bus, okay, basically the channels of data transfer in a motherboard, okay? Have you seen this stuff? I'm trying to tell you. And so these functions at that kernel level is what is important here, okay? Is what got messed up. You see, you got the user level stuff is only presenting the user what the user needs to see. Anything else might be confusing or they might mess it up very easily. And it's very easy to do that at the kernel. That clear? And these are very sensitive. You might not think the mouse clicks your mouse does, what position your mouse pointer is, what keystrokes you are typing on your keyboard. You might not think that's as super sensitive or the most sensitive, but it is, because it's what the computer hears and sees. It's at that level. And if you could corrupt that, it's like corrupting your eyes. You know what I mean? Okay. CrowdStrike. They want to do cybersecurity for the industries, okay? In comes CrowdStrike Falcon. And they operate at the kernel level, which is an unusual thing. And we'll get into how they got there. But this software has to operate at that sensitive of a level to be able to handle threats, essentially. And if there is a failure at this level, with the kernel, it's pretty much crash. If there's a failure with an app on your phone, that app crashes. If there's a failure with the kernel, the whole thing crashes. That's why you're getting these blue screens. That's why you're getting all of this. That's why you're getting Delta cancels 600 more flights. 600 more flights as it struggles to recover from tech outage. That's Washington Post. Major. It's not just a little outage. Delta cancels 600 flights. Flights missing, like hundreds of U.S. flights canceled for the fourth straight day. The cancellations continue, mounting pressure to get passengers back in air. They've forced them to basically write them out. I saw some of these airlines writing out tickets with pen and paper. Okay? Pen and paper, and you're seeing is these blue screens. How to fix your computer if you are affected by the CrowdStrike crash. See, the reports were that even individuals had issues with their own computers at home. But yeah, these are the blue screens in question. And they're everywhere. They've been going on for a couple of days, started Friday. Over the weekend, all flights grounded nationwide. After 2 hours on the tarmac, we had to deplane. This red-eye flight just got a lot longer with no end in sight, according to this one Twitter user, with blue screens all over the airline. Things not working. That's funny, right? Isn't that just jokes? Oh, IT guys, figure it out. Fix the computer. But it's definitely not just a little silly thing. We're talking offices. We're talking 8.5 million devices. We're talking, okay, I think this one's fake. We're talking, okay, I think this one, I don't know. My spidey senses, my Photoshop senses are going off a bit. And I got to say, I don't know if the Las Vegas sphere, whatever they call it, went blue screen like this. Blue screen, Las Vegas. Now I'm not sure, but I'm almost sure. That looks fake. That looks fatigué, which means fatigued in French. That looks fatigué. Not fattened. Yeah, this blue screen. Yeah, no. This one's a joke. This one's a joke. Okay, oops. But we got the blue screens in the airlines. We got the people unable to work. Major outages. July 19th, they calling it Blue Screen Day. Stock exchanges. Oh no, not the stock exchanges. What are we going to do? Although that would be, I guess, a big deal. But self-checkout. Self-checkout at the grocery. How am I going to steal? That's a joke. They're doing that a lot, the self-checkouts. And I like the self-checkout, so don't ruin the self-checkout for us by stealing, okay? I don't know how you're getting past the machine. It seems to, these self-checkouts, man, it's like you put something just a little bit off. It's like, hey, this guy's trying to steal, hey, put that where it's supposed to go. Put that back on the table. Put it down, sir. Put it down. Unhand the kiwis, sir. Okay, I'm adding to it. The machines aren't talking to us like that yet. But, these things are sensitive. I don't know how these criminals are getting past these sensors. The anchor baby's a little bit of a, what? I'm just subject to, I'm never going to be cyberpunk. I'm just subject to whatever machines, whatever they bring down from the top. I can't circumvent this, but why would I? That would be a crime anyways. Look, CrowdStrike, outages, we're talking about it. You following so far? Hospitals. 3.1 is the magic number for some. Southwest Airlines. Microsoft has apparently been nagging Southwest Airlines to update its version of Windows since 1992. As a result, the Dallas-based airline was not impacted by the global CrowdStrike outage. I'm thinking we got to keep some of these versions of Windows in like stasis somehow. Anybody got a copy of Windows, like a really good copy of Windows XP somewhere? Like, we got to save it for when everything collapses, because we got to start, we need something to run the anarchist network after it all collapses, right? We need something to run on it. And if Windows XP is good enough for the military, I think we got to start making sure we save some of these in stasis, in DOS or something. There's torrents of it on the Internet Archive website. Okay, esoteric, but that is for good times. What about in hard times when these archives don't quite exist, are easily accessible anymore? And I'm just joking around, conspiracy theories, because even in the worst world wars of the world, of human history, societies did not collapse. There was no apocalypse, and the people still had to go to work. And people died. It was grueling, and it was bad, but yeah. That being said, where are we going to run the dissident network on after they bring down the any of these internet archives? We got to have these saved away on a physical drive or something. We got to start it's like a seed bank. You know what I mean? Like a seed bank for seeds, but software from a time where software maybe was reliable. Huh? Reliable. Is that what is on its way out? Sadly speaking, reliability, is that what's on its way out? In the people, in the folks, in the businesses, in what you're buying, consumer confidence, in your neighbors, in the youth. Oh, man. Are we losing reliability? Can we rely on... Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. What is this? Wow, I'm shocked that the CrowdStrike almost accidentally took out the entire internet, says this person on Twitter, somewhat sarcastically, I think. Oh, no, 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 no. Head of products, Raj Rajamani. Head of engineering, Karan Gupta. Okay, that might not be bad. That's not why I'm going, oh, no, 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 no. We can go, oh, no, no, for many reasons here. Look, and some of those reasons might have to do with Guptas and Rajamanis. But hey, aren't those guys like really smart? They're like great dentists and eye doctors and engineers, no? At least all the Indians I knew growing up. I swear, like every single one of my Indian friends, they're like pros. They're like engineers, all this stuff. I know they say the Indians make a lot of money. The Indian families, they beat these Indian and Chinese families. This is a total side note. This is just a little side note for racism. Just a moment for racism, please, folks. If you just allow me for a moment. I know I can maybe be ignorant with this one. It's my personal conspiracy. These Chinese and Indian families who are beating everyone else, they're also shystier than mine. And I don't even mean like, yeah, Nick, but those are just like criminals. What about those families? No, I'm talking about the families. I'm talking about the mama, the daddy, and the kids. they're like they game the system. And I'm not saying that. I know this was a moment for racism, and I'm wrong for this. And racism doesn't exist. I'm messing around. But don't be prejudiced. Or don't be nasty. And just be like, well, you only got that because you're a cheater, and I don't, and that's why I can't do well in life. Don't be a little nasty person, but that's my personal conspiracy theory. But where was I? Thank you for a little aside. We're getting to what was making me say, oh no, and it's this. Damn. I mean, look, sure, there was an outage, a major one, a really major one. And yes, you could show me pictures of the diverse workplace at CrowdStrike. But that does not mean, okay, that does not mean that that's correlated. I'm saying sarcastically, trying not to cry, hoping that's not true, right? And I can't really tell you. Because I see a lot of those Indians at CrowdStrike. Come on. Aren't those like really amazing coders and stuff? But yeah, the ladies there, the diversity, I can't tell you. I really don't know. But they're putting diversity all the way to the Secret Service, folks. Do you understand how deep this goes? The level of insanity that this has gone to? The cosmic levels of insanity this is? The cosmic levels of radiation that has made this so insane. Okay, we're freestyling with that one. They're putting them in the Secret Service. They are with a smile on their face telling you, we are aiming to put 30% of the Secret Service women, 12% of them with non-targeted disabilities, and 2% with targeted disabilities. Meaning Down syndrome, that stuff. And they're saying they have to, by 2030, put at least 2% of them in the Secret Service. Like, can they do anything else? Can they do literally any other job? Can they literally, like, how about you put them in literally any other job? Literally anywhere else. So anyways, look, it's at that level. You got to understand, it's at that level. So maybe I don't know about CrowdStrike here, but that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with that level of insanity. Diversity. And I want to get more into this here. There's some more interesting details I want to get into. 888-775-3773. But on the atmosphere that even brought something like this about. And I'm talking regulations, regulatory practices, and corporate cultures, and even the prevailing culture. This mama spirit of stop every threat instead of be strong. Anyways, look, we're going somewhere else with that one. CrowdStrike, and I wanted to show you, right, some of the surrounding factors that brought about this perfect storm. Okay, here's a little insight. Here. Hold on. A little insight into the regulatory culture that may have brought this about, so to speak. IT, okay. I'm trying to get you the name of this person. Am I disconnected from the internet? It's all gone. Everything. I'm not connecting to the internet. Am I still live? I'm getting CrowdStriked. I'm getting CrowdStriked right now. I'm not getting a blue screen of death, but I'm getting, everything is just telling me I'm not connected to the internet. Blah, blah, blah. People, can you hear me? Hoping you can hear me. Yes, I think I'm live. I'm back. I may have never left. CrowdStrike. Let me tell you about this. Lina Khan. Okay. Getting this from ABC. Chair of the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, Lina Khan. On this whole topic. And someone's response to her that I found interesting. It goes like this. Yes, the problem is too much concentration in cloud providers, says Lina Khan. We must do something about that. I mean, how could this possibly have happened? That all the major cloud providers went down at the same time over the same software bug. Must be a lack of regulation, she says. Lina Khan. Let me show you Lina Khan, who says we need more regulation. We need more to stop it. If only we had the technology, if only we could have seen it coming, we could have stopped it. Lina Khan says we need more regulation as the big boss lady over there at the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, the chair of the U.S. Federal Trade Commission. All too often these days, a single glitch results in a system-wide outage affecting industries from healthcare and airlines to banks and auto dealers. But if you notice something, Lina Khan, the only people, the only people really being affected, the only industries being affected are those industries, the big ones. The airlines, the banks, the auto dealers, the healthcare industry. Those are the only ones being affected. The industries with the most regulations, the most heavily regulated, in fact, the most regulated industries. We're talking about the most regulated industries, each one with major problems. Think about that for a second. You see, there's a monoculture. You got to understand that there is a monoculture, a religion, whatever you want to call it. It's a spirit, if you ask me. A virus, a mind virus, if you ask Elon Musk. And this monoculture here is the same everywhere. In the airline, in the government, in the liberal churches, in the activist circle. This monoculture is the same. And they hit away at the same markers. Diversity. They speak the same. They do the same thing. You understand what I'm saying here? Lina Khan saying more regulations. These are the most regulated industries. These same industries having similar issues. DEI is being talked about. Rumors of all this, while at the same time they promote all this with a smile. Decline of these industries on display like never before. A big aviation accident in an incoming big aviation accident, and that's not me saying that. That's a whole bunch of people saying that. The experts are now saying that. An incoming aviation accident that will, maybe change things. I don't know. You got all that going down. Heavily regulated. These industries they have the same things. You understand? If you are in a regulated industry, you are required to install something like CrowdStrike on all your machines. If you use CrowdStrike, your auditor checks a single line and moves on. If you use anything else, your auditor opens up an expensive new chapter of his book. But, these like auditors that audit big companies, businesses, LLCs and all that, corporations, they're very regulated. So they got to have an auditor to check it all. And when you have a company that makes that all easy, hey, we're CrowdStrike and we are regulation friendly. We are certified. Well, now we're talking monopolies. Now we're talking in this world of business and all the industries. We're talking about monopolies and how you create an empire, how you take over stuff. Well, we're the ones who got the seal, and they literally have that. CrowdStrike has what's called WHQL. WHQL, Windows hardware, Windows high quality. What is it? What does that mean? That's amazing how you can type in. That is amazing. That is incredible. How you could type in WHQL stand for in Yahoo and you don't get what it stands for. It tells you what's the difference. That's amazing. Who's making this stuff? Windows Hardware Quality Labs. Okay, and it's basically what that is. It's a stamp of approval that we tested this to levels of really high standard. So this software is certified by us to work. And CrowdStrike has that on their stuff. The real culprit here is regulatory capture, says Mark Atwood. Notice that everybody getting hit hard is in these industries. That's because those regulations include IT security mandates, and CrowdStrike has positioned themselves as the only game in town for compliance. Hence, you get this software monoculture prone to everything getting hit at once like this. Okay? So that's a little bit of what's going on there. CrowdStrike. Fascinating. You know, China, they didn't really get anything like this. Oh, real quick, since I mentioned the regulations. Then we'll get to China, and then we'll move on. But this insight into regulations and all that may not be unfounded by this Mark Atwood person, and it may not be unfounded. Look, this is Euronews. Microsoft says European Union to blame for the world's worst IT outage. The world's worst IT outage. Was this the blue screen massacre? The blue screen massacre of 2024. History's worst IT outage. That's why that is why on IT Day, we think, all right, imagine that. I can totally see the world doing something stupid like World IT Day, where all IT people are suddenly heroes, veterans even. Veterans of the blue screen of 24. Heroes. Up to 8.5 million Windows devices were affected. You know about all that. Microsoft is saying the European Union is to blame for the world's biggest IT outage on Friday following a faulty security update. A 2009 agreement insisted on by the European Commission meant that Microsoft could not make security changes that could have blocked the update from cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike that caused an estimated 8.5 million computers to fail. You following? See, initially, someone like Microsoft could say to a company like CrowdStrike, no, you can't update your stuff just yet. I know you're saying it's important. I know you're saying that you really got to do this update. It's for security. They just figured out this virus, but you got to go through us, and you got to give us that approval. Well, European Commission said nah, and gave companies like CrowdStrike keys to the kernel, keys straight to the kernel, so that they, for safety. Because this can never happen again. You know what I mean? Because the events of July 19th can never happen again. Remembered in days of infamy. Never forget. Thousands of flights were delayed or canceled, leaving passengers, blah, blah, blah. The problem was triggered by a defective update for CrowdStrike's Falcon system, which you know a little bit about at this point. But that's what happened, right? It was a little update. You update all these 8.5 million devices. Doesn't work. Microsoft has Windows Defender. its in-house alternative to CrowdStrike, but because of the 2009 agreement made to avoid a European competition investigation, has allowed multiple security providers to install software at the kernel level. So that's a little bit of what's going on. Government messing around, trying to protect you, or really protect themselves. Yeah. What else about this? Yeah, Microsoft bringing to light the mess with the EU. But it really isn't, if you ask me, it really isn't even a government ruins everything type deal here. In that there's a quick changes, a lot of things happening in the software, in the tech world, okay? And we may need some kind of regulation, some kind of regulatory power here. But what matters, what I've come to realize, it's not a matter of debating about constitutional power, but it's about who applies it. It's about who applies it, is what I've come to realize. It's not about, well, the Constitution says this. That matters, but what I'm trying to say here is that after it's all said and done and the laws are made, it's about who applies it. It's about who's applying it and who's doing that. Who runs the regulatory agencies? It's about that. I've come to realize. And is it people? If you ask me, regulatory agencies, that's a job for a Christian man. And I say Christian in that someone who is someone who knows that they should love all people, kind of stuff. Like, I'm keeping it simple, right? They look at themselves. Who's the best for that job? Regulatory agencies. Yeah, we need someone who's understands maybe even human nature a little bit. Maybe not a little bit, maybe a lot of it. We're talking about regulations, regulatory agencies. That's a job for a man. Number one. So what was I saying? Yeah, we may need some kind of regulating power and all that. But that's a little bit with the EU and the mess there. I wanted to mention China real quick. Here's why China was largely unaffected by the outage, according to CNBC, okay? And while businesses in the U.S. and Europe woke up Friday to a global IT outage that disrupted airports, hotels, China went into its weekend largely unaffected. The issue traced back to a software update by Texas-based cybersecurity company CrowdStrike, okay? So you already know all that. The impact of Friday's CrowdStrike incident on China was very small, with almost no impact on domestic public life. Zhao Feng, senior research director at Gartner, said in Chinese, translated by CNBC. Only some foreign companies in China were affected. The main reason why is that local Chinese companies basically do not use CrowdStrike products, so they're not affected. CrowdStrike's customers are primarily concentrated in Europe and the United States. Anecdotally, ride-hailing, e-commerce, and other internet-connected systems in China were all running smoothly on Friday. Chinese state media also said Friday evening that international flights at Beijing's two airports were running normally, that Air China, China Eastern Airlines, and China Southern Airlines had not been affected by large-scale technical system failures. One of the most notable impacts of the IT outage, including in China, was on Microsoft. Windows devices attempted to integrate an update, blah, 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 you know all that. Microsoft products didn't work. Microsoft scrambles. But China does not use CrowdStrike. The U.S. and Chinese governments have in recent years pushed domestic companies to use homegrown technology and store data locally out of national security concerns. Makes sense? National security concerns. Why don't the U.S. and Chinese governments have in recent years pushed domestic companies to use homegrown technology and store data data locally out of national security concerns. What are those national security concerns? Because you see this line here, what that means. Hey, Bill, talk about CrowdStrike. Talking hella CrowdStrike right now, if you have anything to say about it. But here's the thing about this line here about China and Chinese companies not using CrowdStrike and how they've been pushed to use their own homegrown technology because of national security concerns. Let me just say this real quick. You're going to see this more and more. You're going to see this more and more where large parts of the global system, commerce system, and otherwise will move away from a American-centered way of operating, where we're all using PayPal. We're all, I'm just using these words to communicate, but we're all using the same payments processes, and we're using the same cybersecurity stuff, and it's all proprietary, but it's in the industry so that we can all communicate and make the world go around, right? You're going to see more of this. You're going to see this more and more. I mean, it started with, think about BRICS, right? Now, is the global, has the dollar been usurped? Has the global money system been changed? Well, no. But you got to understand, these are the rumblings. This is how it starts. And it's not just start. We're seeing some pretty nasty stuff with the U.S. dollar. We'll get into that maybe some other day. But it's not the same America. It's not the same domination. You understand? So you're going to see more of this. You're going to see more of this moving away, creating our own homegrown stuff and all that, our own money system, our own cybersecurity systems and framework and all that. You're going to see more of that. And this national security concern they're talking about is simply not just simply competition, sometimes threats, sometimes a lot of that actually. But it's essentially that. It's a multipolar world. And in a multipolar world, sometimes there's conflict. And hopefully it's just business. Hopefully it's just, hey, fair game, business, and not blood and fighting. But that's what this national security concern that CNBC is talking about here. It's move away from the West type deal. Make our own stuff. Not insignificant. Not insignificant. So this brings us to what, though? This brings us to, but who? I get what happened. All the IT, all the software went down, right? The computer stopped working. Right? That's what happened. I heard what happened and how. Okay, well, there was an update. There was an update in this cybersecurity platform that has access to some of the most sensitive systems all around the world, and an error, an update was pushed and caused this. So that's how it happened. But who did it? Right? You still don't answer the question. But something happened with a person. Something came down to a person, and they made a mistake and put in this string of erroneous letters and numbers that updated to 8.5 million devices worldwide. Or someone did it on purpose. Or whatever, right? I don't know. But that doesn't answer that. Who done it? And was it a woman? Was it a guy? Was it a girl? Was he? I know the shallow, and I'm shallow too. But I'm really not that interested in this kind of stuff. Like, wait, was he black? Was he white? Was he Republican? Was he Democrat? Because I want to know who's doing it. And I'm really not like that. That's pretty shallow, if you ask me. Not an unfair question, and has its insights, because you got the world right now saying all cultures and all people are the same. It's like, no, groups are acting differently. It's mess. And because of racism, you can't talk about it. But I'm rambling. Look, I'm trying to say that I'm really not that into like, who done it? But hey, who did this? Was it diversity? Or was it like on purpose? Dun, dun, dun. So check this out. on that note, Pink News. This is from Pink News. Microsoft lays off entire DEI team as diversity and inclusion is no longer business critical. Okay. You may have seen rumblings of this earlier this month, but this article specifically is July 22nd. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is no longer business critical at Microsoft, a leaked email claims. The email was sent by a team leader following Microsoft's decision to make all their colleagues redundant. Sent to thousands of people on July 1st, the email, seen by Business Insider, said the entire team was let go because of changing business needs. The number of employees affected is unclear. Based Gates? True systems change work associated with DEI programs everywhere are no longer business critical or smart as they were in 2020. The unidentified team leader wrote. That's a funny way of putting it. It was smart in 2020. No. It made sense and it was smart and it was business critical, but I don't know. It's just not business critical and smart anymore. Excuse me. Why? Shut up. That's not what we're here for. Jeff Jones, a spokesman for the multinational tech giant, said our DEI commitments remain unchanged. Our focus on diversity and inclusion is unwavering, and we are holding firm on our expectations, prioritizing accountability, and continuing to focus on this work. Is what this Jeff Jones is saying. So you understand, right? That's the leaked email versus the public statements of leaked internal emails, allegedly, versus the public statements of Microsoft people. The rise and fall. Okay, wait. I had a better article for this. Hold on. Let's get to the source where these people got it from, where Pink News got it from. Pink News, what is that? Some kind of feminine stuff? Some kind of feminism stuff? Let's see what the Pink... Actually, let's see what Pink News says. Maybe they say something funny, like the ladies at the Skim. Despite the recent news from Microsoft does fit the pattern of tech giants reducing their DEI initiatives. Following the murder of George Floyd by a Minneapolis police officer in 2020, and the resulting Black Lives Matter movement, businesses pledged to enhance diversity. Blah, blah, blah. Despite the promise of a more inclusive workplace, including extra representation for marginalized groups in leadership positions, other companies have scaled back their DEI schemes. Online video conference company Zoom laid off a team earlier this year. Google, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, WhatsApp reduced their DEI programs all in 2023. Imagine that. The big companies, the regulated ones, are like, I don't know, this is a little too far for us. We're going to have to cut back on this diversity. No reason. No reason at all. It's just not smart anymore. More recently, American-based tractor manufacturer John Deere abandoned its LGBTQ+ inclusion strategy in the face of a backlash from right-wing pundits. The rural chain Tractor Supply also faced criticism. So everybody's going DEI, and now they're going back. You know the story. You've seen it before. But it's an interesting one here, considering the connection here. Microsoft partnered with CrowdStrike. Now, I'm not going to start peddling in insano world conspiracies, okay? I'm not going to just... Okay? Let's not be crazy. Because it wasn't CrowdStrike who was laying off entire DEI team. It was Microsoft. But you think, what? Is the anchor baby crazy here? Here's what I'll say. The anchor baby is definitely far from anything like a definite point with this one. So don't take it like that. Don't take this as gospel truth. But you think one of these people didn't like that about Microsoft? Because I want to know who did it. Who did the mistake? Nah, I don't really. I guess I don't need to know, but I still want to know. You know what I mean? Laying off DEI at Microsoft, and then all of a sudden. But anyways, inside job. Inside job. Inside the job. Body up key. You know, this tech future, man, this tech future stuff isn't real. This VR plugged in reality, the Apple VR. Now you're touching the computer space and you're going to be so much more productive. You're going to be basically Magneto connected to the chair in the minds of the world. You're going to be plugged in. You're going to have robots. You're going to have assistants. You're going to have robot wives. It's going to be cyberpunk / Blade Runner, okay? Blade Runner's here. You're going to have your robot wives. It's here. It's just tomorrow. Just next year. You know, this whole... It's like in Fugazi land. It's just kind of fantasy a little bit right now. Look, it's just there's a lot of technology, amazing technology coming out, a lot of interesting proofs of concepts and all that. But to say that this perfect tech future, it's just not here yet, okay? What is changing is behaviors and people and information, okay? We don't have the robots yet. Calm down. But you know what is changing really fast? Information and how we consume it and our behaviors. For example, Googling. Not even just Googling. Finding primary sources for yourself. You read something online, but you go deeper and you find another source and you back it up and that whole behavior is changing. Replaced by AI summaries. That kind of stuff. That's what's changing, okay? And maybe the self-driving cars. The self-driving cars, FSD is looking pretty nice. FSD's looking pretty nice lately. You get some partnership with some gas station. You get Tesla doing some partnership going like, we're partnering with Shell. And now they put like chargers everywhere. I don't know. They figure that out or something. But I'm rambling, but wow, I'm not lying. 888-775-3773. I'm rambling about a bunch of stuff, but where am I lying? This like Silicon Valley culture of, you know what I mean? Like this techie Silicon Valley, just make an app for it. It's Fugazi. It's about people. Okay, now I'm really rambling because I don't know if it was diversity that caused CrowdStrike's problems and all that, but it really is about people, no? And the type of people running things. Come on, you know what I mean? Elon Musk shares some of what I'm saying. Elon Musk, you know that guy? Elon Musk takes several shots at CrowdStrike after global outage, including taking aim at company's DEI policy. This is from New York Post. Huh. See, this one's not a anchor baby hyperbole. This is from New York Post. Billionaire ex-owner Elon Musk, several shots at CrowdStrike, including aiming at their diversity stuff. Look at this. We got the images. We got the receipts. CrowdStrike. We are proud to be a gold partner of Bright Networks Diversity. This is back 2022. Equity and Inclusion and Belonging Panel. Our team shared their career journeys and tips on how we are creating an equitable and inclusive workplace for all. Hashtag We Are CrowdStrike. Folks, do you see this culture, this Silicon Valley culture? It's the same monoculture in the government. It's the same mind virus in a lot of this crap that's just declining, and the airlines. It's not just a Republican joke. It's not just a Republican meme and what the MAGA people are talking about. It's everywhere. It's mandated by the government. It's pushed along by the businesses, by government, by regulatory agencies. It is, we are, the decline is real. It's happening on purpose. The people doing it are smiling about it, saying they want to do it, doing it, putting it on paper, putting it on laws, regulations, etc., that they're doing this. It's all there. It's all there. Bright Network. The Bright Network, not very bright now, is it? Says Elon Musk. Whoa. Am I tripping? Or does Elon Musk listen to Maze? Wait. Does CrowdStrike listen to? Is this whole thing inspired by Maze, or am I tripping? No, I'm just tripping, right? I've been hanging out with the Bomb family too long. It's Fugazi. Come on. Come on. This culture, it's so strange. It's so weird. Microsoft laid off a DEI team. And you know, it's funny, the companies, for whatever you want to say, these people, I don't know if it's Gates at this point. Is Microsoft still Bill Gates? I don't know. I don't know if he's been the same ever since. I don't want to say. I don't want to talk about it. But same culture. Yeah, and the business here, they definitely try because they see the dollar incentive. It guides them a little bit. And they're like, okay, well, you know, there's something wrong about all this. And shout out, appreciate it. Trying to navigate this mess, being regulated and all that. But it's a mess. Can we break free from these shackles? Can we do it? Microsoft, help us out. What do you think about Trump? Are you with it? Are you with the only mainstream movement with plenty of problems, okay? And it's like a lot of GOP lately, and it's really not good. But Microsoft, can you be with the only movement right now that's kind of like, hey, well, maybe it should be a government by the people. Because I get it. Look, you're trying to lay them off, trying to navigate all this. Let's break free. Help us out, Microsoft. Lead the way. There's Lena Khan again. So that's a little bit on what's going on there. Diversity, a little bit on the culture, CrowdStrike, massive stuff there. I mean, it continues, though. It continues. I have this for you on Cheetle. And today is the day to do all this. Today is the day to do all this. Okay, people? And what I'm talking about is the Secret Service director, Kim Cheeto. Cheeto. They got she's literally the Cheeto person. She's a Cheeto. They got the Cheeto guard. It's some more of that divine comedy, maybe. What do you think? Some more of that divine comedy? A joke God wrote many years ago. Kim Cheeto. How old is she? A joke God wrote 51 years ago. 51 years. 1972. We're talking about Kimberly Cheeto, director of the Secret Service. The big boss lady, holding it down, protecting the president. Oh my gosh, look at this. This is the third image on Yahoo Images. Special report, women in security. Kimberly Cheeto. I've shown this to you, but it's just funny that people are talking about it so much. It's the third hit, even on globalist search engines. Kimberly Cheeto, Senior Director, Global Security, PepsiCo. The Cheeto lady. God is a comedian. God loves a good laugh. Was that it on Elon Musk? Yeah, I think so. Blaming diversity. We are set on that. We are moving to Kim Cheeto. The diversity continues, and today is the day to do this. Kimberly Cheeto actually appeared today before Congress. She appeared before Congress Isn't that amazing? A hearing before Congress, 4 hours and 40 minutes, centered around the assassination attempt on Trump. 𒒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎 appeared before the House Oversight Committee amid calls to resign. And the clips are coming out, okay? The clips are coming out. They're spicy. Oh, Kim, did he really just say that to 𒒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎 to her face? Oh, dang. We got strong people at Congress. This is some of the vibe right now. Some of the videos I'm seeing. And I want to show you this first one. Is this a guilty person? Look at the way she drinks water. Oh, like hell. Like Satan if he was parched in hell, huh? I mean, just to be clear here, that's not what the poster said. Never seen someone look more guilty drinking water, is what they said. But 𒒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒍� appearing before the House Oversight Committee. Is this the parched throat of a guilty person? Wait, we need the music on this one. Oh. Demonic. You see that? Okay, maybe that's not fair. Whoever edited it, maybe that's not fair. If you know anything about editing and the types of sounds you put, it could change a lot. It could change a whole lot, okay? Let's watch this again. We're going to switch the audio out, and you tell me if she looks just as evil. Let's go. 𒒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎, she's drinking from her cup. Okay, does she look evil or just stupid now? Like, she's drinking water. It's raw. You donut. Does she still look evil, or does she just look silly now? You donut. If you don't know what that sound is, that's from Hell's Kitchen. You know what I'm talking about, right? That sound drop from like Hell's Kitchen and stuff. So they're saying that looks guilty, but I'm just messing around. I wanted to show you, what else do I want to show you here? Her being grilled basically at this oversight committee, pointing out, look, here's one part here where they were asking her about the Trump rally goers pointing out the shooter on the roof. She attempts to explain how the Secret Service were not aware that there was a threat. Let's watch.
Before the shooting began, the state police, Director Cheadle, as you know, the shooter began shooting at 6:11 p.m. Eastern on July 13th. NBC reported that at 5:51 p.m., 20 minutes before the shooting began, the state police informed the Secret Service of their concern. Now, the rally was not paused at that point, correct?
No.
And according to NBC, just 2 minutes later, at 5:53 p.m., the Secret Service notified its snipers about the gunman. The rally wasn't paused at that point either, correct?
No.
Let me show you some video footage by rally goers. If you could play the video on the screen up here. This was taken 2 minutes before the shooting started. If you could turn up the volume.
Dangerous people. Criminals. We have criminals. We have drug dealers. We have people that should not be here.
Right on the roof.
It's much tougher than it happens.
You went right on the roof with that.
Up here. Ma'am, that doesn't look like suspicious behavior. That looks like threatening behavior to me. And the rally wasn't paused at that point either, correct?
I can tell you, as I stated earlier, sir, that the moment that the shift surrounding the president were aware of an actual threat.
That's a threat. Right there. The guy's on the roof and everybody's yelling at him.
Yes.
And directing the officers' attention to him. The rally was not paused at that point, correct?
We are currently still combing through communications and when communications were passed.
Well, I can point you to this communication. It's 2 minutes before the shots started ringing out. Director Cheadle, yes or no? Was there ever a moment where the Secret Service actually considered pausing the rally?
The Secret Service would have paused the rally had they known or been
So the
told
answer is
there
no.
was an actual threat.
The answer is no. Correct?
I can speak to you in generalities.
No, I don't want generalities.
I don't know
want
all of the
specifics.
communications
The
that were-
answer is no. You did not consider pausing the rally, correct?
The people that are in charge of protecting the president on that day would never bring the former president out if there was a threat that had been identified.
Well, they did, because we've now identified 3 points in the 20 minutes before the shooting that the threat emerged.
So, an interesting clip here for a number of reasons. Because I get it. They're going hard on Kimberly here. How could you? How could you allow this to happen? And if you ask me, I think you should resign. I think it's time for you to do something else. Because the one thing you were tasked to do, a very important thing here, didn't work out well for whatever reason. But then we get down to the nitty-gritties and the words they're actually talking about here. This guy, whoever that was, and Kimberly Cheadle, and what went wrong and what you should have done. And he's like, they're still combing through communications, okay? The Secret Service was just not aware of the threat at the specific time that you're talking about. And it's like, at this time, and specifically, this is the information we had, and blah, blah, blah. They were pointing at this time, and this minute, when the Secret Service was arguing about things they don't know. Like she said, we're still combing through information here. We're still combing through communications. What went down minute by minute, so that we can get down to it. If you don't have that information, everything outside of that is just finger wagging and chastising. You're bad. You're bad, which is not, which is maybe necessary here. You understand, but it's just what gets me, I guess, is like, this is just easy marks. This is just easy points for those people in the oversight committee. It's just easy marks. Well, you were supposed to protect the president. And so we're here. We want law and order. It's just easy marks. When you get down to the substance, you don't have the substance. If she's still combing through communications, then why are we talking? Let's get the investigation. Why are we talking? If we're still combing through investigations, okay, maybe it's so that we can find out that you don't know. Maybe that she doesn't know and she's incompetent. Maybe that's what it's for, fine. But you're just splitting hairs. You're just splitting hairs here. He's like, I don't want generalities. What did you do what did you do in this moment and that moment? And I guess what gets me about that is you see these guys being all tough, like, you should have protected the president. And when you get down to what they're saying, it's still quite plausible that this happened this way when you put it like this. When you still haven't combed through the communications, and the Secret Service was just not aware of the threat, that specific threat at that time when that video was shot. Well, then what really are you saying? You're not really saying anything. You're just not happy that the attempt was made. But when it gets down to it, do you understand what I'm saying here? Like, it still could have went, like, this failure, it could have happened to any director. I guess is what I'm saying. But that's not really the point here. Look, I'm just looking at these people going on like, you shoulda, coulda, woulda, before they have any of information, when the true oversight, the shoulda, coulda, woulda, should have happened like decades ago, with the culture that can't help but put women in these positions. And say they can't do any wrong, or there's no difference at all between them. No. And anything in the glass ceiling and decades and years of the glass ceiling and the women's vote and it's our body, it's our, and the oversight was the oversight has been happening. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say here. The oversight has been happening, okay? So I guess I'm just trying to say you suck to the people who are like, but Kimberly, you should have just investigated, get the deets, find out how badly they messed up, and then get rid of her. And it's not going to get better, is also what I'm trying to say. It's just not going to get better. I don't see any reason why it would. I see nobody standing against this. I mean, we just saw the RNC. We were watching some of that together. You know, I'm with Trump. I love the man. What I've seen for myself, seeing him navigate all this. But what was it like? There is no response to what I'm talking about at that RNC. It was more of the same. It's more of what I'm talking about at that RNC that Trump spoke at. Just straight up, right? Like there is no response to it from the left, from the right. There is, and if whatever semblance of it that there was on the right and the Republicans specifically seems to have just gone, evaporated at that RNC, at that convention. It was just, let's just hammer home, let's really lay it on thick that we're basically diversity now and all that. There is no response to that. And so it won't get better otherwise. Just wanted to mention that. Wanted to mention all that mess. Kimberly Cheetle. I mean, this is the day to do it. They got Cheetle in the House Oversight Committee. They got Microsoft laying them off. We got CrowdStrike diverse. I mean, this is the day to do it. So thank you. Thank you for that. We just had to get through all that. I think that's it on Kimberly. Kimberly. Maybe you'll understand more of what I'm saying here.
How did
as they look as they go down, look what they do. Let me just show you, I guess, a little bit. Them going tough. Representative Pat Fallon of Texas wrecked USSS Chief Kim Cheetle on the issue of the sloped roofs and her complete inability to do her job.
20-year-old loner with a week's notice picked the absolute.
Gentleman yields back. Chair now recognizes Mr. Fallon from Texas.
How did a 20-year-old loner with a week's notice pick the absolute best location to assassinate President Trump when the entire Secret Service missed it? Director Cheetle, in your leadership, your agency got outsmarted and outmaneuvered by a 20-year-old.
I mean, that's a great question.
How can we have any confidence that you could stop trained professionals from a nefarious nation state?
Those are absolutely questions that we need to have.
I know they're
answers
questions,
to.
but you know, the fact of the matter is we can't have that confidence. Director, do you have the ability personally, and do you have the authority to beef up security of any of your protectees?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So were you also
like? Do you see what I'm saying here? It's like either it's a weird situation where it's like only one point, the best vantage point was left. It's just they totally missed it, and it's just like weird. Either it's a total setup, either it's a total political setup, you know, or there really was a failure with this diversity, and there really was a failure of incompetence, and then when we look and we look at the source of it and we're like, wait, hold up. The incompetent people are also diverse? Well, who'd have thunk? So it's either that, right? It's either that or the other. And if it's the other, if it's the latter, then these guys are just splitting hairs if they don't have the information. They're just like, Kimberly, you should have done a better job. Why'd you guys put a woman as the head of the SS, of the Secret Service?
where there was
and not only that, but all the other stuff about 20, 30% of women and 12% and 2% of disabilities by whatever time.
Threat President Trump was facing. He was facing a heightened security threat to a foreign adversary?
Yes.
Okay. So given that there was an increased threat to President Trump's life, was he provided a full security complement akin to what a sitting U.S. president would receive?
He was provided a full complement of security based on the threat assessment that we had.
That's not my
And
question.
the venue.
My question is, if he'd been the sitting president, would he have had the same security he had on July 13th, or would have been beefed up?
There is a difference between the
So
sitting
he didn't.
president
So your answer is he didn't.
and continuity of government and the responsibility
So he
that we
did
have.
not. Okay, there wasn't a CAT team, a full CAT team on site. There wasn't counter-surveillance teams on site. But this is the thing. You just said you had the ability to beef up the security. You knew about the threat, and you didn't. And that's as telling as it is chilling. We have satellite images from the Butler Fairgrounds. Have you visited the site?
No, I have not.
9 days and you have not visited the site. You should have been there that night. Did you talk to, that evening, did you talk to the team, the heroes that surrounded the president? Did you call them that night?
Like, am I nitpicking? Like, these are, I mean, a lot of these are great questions, no? But why didn't you go, maybe I'm the ignorant one here, but it's like, wait, you haven't visited the grounds? Am I sensing like a little bit of like a memorial type thing? Like, you didn't visit Ground Zero? You didn't visit the grounds where it happened to pay your respects to the heroes? Maybe I'm being ignorant. Maybe that's like what you should do as the director. Like, okay, let's get this down. I need to see exactly. Maybe that makes sense. If I was Kimberly, if I really cared about my job, if I really cared about being the director, you know how some of the best bosses, they go down to the field and they're like, and they get their hands dirty along with the workers. So maybe if I was Kimberly, I want to see how this went down. I want to stand, I want to lay down where that shooter was laying down so I could get in the mind of the assassin, so that this may never happen again. Maybe it's a fair question. But was I sensing some memorial? I don't know. Let the video play, geez.
They were still operational work.
So that's an answer is no. Did you call him the next day?
President. Yes, I spoke with
You called him the very next day, not the day of, or was it 72 hours after?
I don't know the timeline, but I spoke with
Okay,
them
because you're under oath.
immediately following.
I think it was 72 hours after. You waited 3 days. What is immediately clear is that there are a number of structures that need to be secured. Of these, Director, other than the first, immediate 4, what's the most dangerous site that should have been secured? Because Security 101, you got to mitigate the high ground.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what the next most dangerous site, what was the closest structure to the president, other than the 4 immediate ones that you had your counter sniper teams on?
There are a number of structures around that event site.
You know who the shooter knew? The shooter has visited the site 2 more times than you have, and he had a drone, and he picked the AGR building. So you said, do you remember in an ABC interview you did that you didn't have people on the roof of the AGR building because you were worried about safety because of the slope?
I recall that statement.
Okay. Does the Secret Service have written policy you can share with us about slope roofs?
No.
Okay. So why'd you act like there was one? Because is it your practice to comment on enormous events of
You guys need to know about the sloped roofs? You guys need to know about the sloped roofs? I'm reading something right now, so I'll let you finish this a little bit.
enormous national implications when you're ignorant of the facts? That's rhetorical. So here's this thing with the slopes. You go all up to like 1812, you can go to a 112, which is about as flat as you can get without it being completely flat. And you're saying that there was a danger, safety concern there, but the problem is, Director, you put your counter snipers on a 312 roof, which is steeper than the 112. And by the way, the 112 is ADA compliant. You can build a ramp for a wheelchair on a 112 roof. So these are nothing but pathetic excuses, and they make...
All right, buddy. Yeah, maybe those are all good questions, maybe. It's a 121, man. That's ADA certified. Are you freaking joking me, man? Essentially what I'm gathering is like, why did she put her snipers on a suboptimal position to protect the president? And I'm not really hearing in these clips, I've only seen the clips. I'm not hearing a lot of like responses from Kimberly A. Cheadle. I'm not hearing much of anything. Just, I don't know. That's what we're investigating. We think we did a great job or whatever. I'm not hearing a lot of anything from her. The oversight committee. Do we need all this? Can't you just fire someone? Is she elected or something? Does that even matter anymore? But that's that a little bit. That's that a little bit. Kimberly A. Cheadle. Who runs the world? Thank you, Hake Report, over there on rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. Thank you for the support. Appreciate that. So that's it. That's it on that. Kimberly A. Cheadle. This is LAPD attempting to stop a vehicle dead in its tracks using the stop sticks, a device designed for this very purpose, put in the hands of trained officers who are trained to use and deploy this device to end any would-be chases. Oh, never mind. Just drive around it. Yeah, you can just drive around it. If they don't, especially if the cop doesn't really have an arm to really throw it, isn't really looking for the right moment to deploy said stop sticks and deploy them effectively in front of the path of the vehicle, are probably some of those factors that will, mess with that success rate. This guy even looks at the stop sticks like, yeah, I'm just driving past that. Anyways, we moving on from this one. Godspeed, sir. Stop sticks, but that's the links. That's Kimberly Cheadle. That's what's going on with all that. I do want to mention maybe real quick. Possibly real quick. My only apprehension is in just the like back-to-back, I guess, bad news, but I don't really see news like that. If you ask me, I don't trip. So much bad news. It doesn't weigh on me. But considering its possibly breaking nature, 19 people shot, 3 dead outside of Mississippi nightclub. Mass shootings. And we'll see if this gets any sort of national attention, because it looks like one of these club things. And usually at these club things, and we're talking about Indianola, Mississippi. And usually these club things, it's not really a story that the media can really use, in that it's never the type of victims and stuff they would like to use. It's just people at a club. So it might be black on black. It might be some other form of violence that's not politically expedient, or wow, you're not supposed to see all that. This is the behind the scenes. You shouldn't see all this. ATEM software control, nothing sensitive, but let me move that over here. Yeah, usually these kinds of club shootings in this area, you following me here? It's not really usually a politically expedient story, so it's interesting to see it to see this on this local news thing, WCBI, Indianola, Mississippi. It'll remain to be seen if this is a story that gets any sort of major attention, because if you didn't know, crime like this, mass shootings, they kind of happen more often than you think. They're just not talked about as a mass shooting because it didn't happen at a school or anything. It happens at a club, or it happened at some drive-by shooting or something like that. So you don't hear about all the mass shootings going on. Not to fearmonger and say there's so many. I believe I could be wrong, but I believe last time I looked at this figure, mass shootings were going down. But that's a side note on this. Just trying to point out how it happens more regularly, but you don't hear about it for political reasons. You understand? You understand? Okay. 11% in New York City. Rape surges 11% in New York City as bail reform, vulnerable migrants, depleted New York Police Department create perfect crime storm. That's New York Post. Elon Musk sharing this one. You understand? Do you see? Where's that from? Isn't that like a show? Do you see? Do you see? That might be like a serial killer from South Park or something. Can't remember. Can't remember. And it won't get better. It will not get better until you got the right kind of people in charge. And the right kind of person, we've gleaned at least a little from today's episode, just a little bit. They're not weak to women. They're not just going to bring him in because they feel bad or it's just some mission they got to do because it's the right thing, diversity. And I don't see any of that, if I'm telling you the truth. I don't see that anywhere. A woman is speaking out after being attacked in broad daylight by Biden's newcomer with a long record of violence who currently lives in a taxpayer-funded shelter in New York City.
My fellow New Yorkers, can somebody explain to me what's happening in our city? Because today, something really bad happened to me. I was walking out of my office trying to get lunch at Chipotle in Long Island City. Right after I get out of Chipotle, a woman hit me in the broad daylight for no reason. I was trying to fight back, but she took my umbrella, break it in half, and shove it right into my face. I was bleeding so bad I had to call 911. And the EMT told me that she's very likely an illegal immigrant who were placed in the hotel near my office. So who's gonna be responsible for all this crime that's happening? Are they gonna put her in jail? Because I'm even terrified to even go back to my work.
So that's just a little mess, okay? Just watch your back. Don't have fear, but watch your back. Don't live in fear, but watch your back. Don't just give up your life to this world. Don't be an idiot. Don't lose your life for silly things, but living in fear, you might as well be dead, right? Filipino, you think? Filipinos don't have souls is a funny video on the internet. Take care, y'all. This is it from me. Look, that's been the American Anchor, baby. Appreciate you being with me today. I'll be back tomorrow, noon Pacific time, as we do. More Bond Network. JLP Show. Hake Report. Wishing Joelle well. Hopefully, I'm protected. I'm going to go Clorox my hands. But, look, I'm saying bye. Take care. I do appreciate all the support, all the super chats. Let me see here. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Kale Samogi, thank you so much, says, nuclear war, AI, cyber attacks, moral degradation of all Western countries, PDF elites, poisoned air, food, and water. It's not DEI. Oh, what do you mean? We'll have to talk about that tomorrow, Kale, maybe. Call me or something. Maybe it's something else. Let's talk about it. Nuclear war. All right, y'all. Take care. And see y'all tomorrow. Bye.